There's something instantly soothing about Rugrats.
Happy birthday, Tommy.
Audiences grew up with Tommy Pickles and his toddler friends, watching them learn about the world in all its excitement and injustice. Since its debut in 1991, Rugrats grew throughout its 9 seasons to include movies.
The Rugrats movie.
Honey, this is your brother Dylan.
Video games.
It looks like you have to decide a few things before you can play.
Comic books. And a terrifying stage show.
Now everybody say, hey, hey!
That feels a lot like this scene in Baby Geniuses. The similarities don't end there. While Rugrats put Nickelodeon on the map as a serious creator of kids programming,
it's Rugrats.
There were growing pains.
Ew!
The network attempted 3 Rugrats spin-offs to varying results.
How about something like this?
The 3rd spin-off is so obscure even Rugrats' biggest fans may not remember it.
Oh, great.
Which Rugrats characters almost got their own show? Which spin-off featured the characters completely redesigned?
Search me.
Find out as we look back at the complete history of Rugrats. It's a wild journey, with appearances by Kim Cattrall.
It's all right, Chucky.
Vern Troyer.
Now that's just plain crazy.
Tim Curry.
Well, we let him!
Lorraine Newman.
That is a totally cute look.
Ronald McDonald.
See you there!
The recruitment card from Squid Game. And a very special appearance by
Martin Luther King, man.
This is Behind the Backdoor Pilot, Rugrats. In 1982, almost 10 years before Tommy Pickles would take his first steps, a couple named Arlene Klasky and Gabor Chupo were taking their first steps to form a Los Angeles animation studio out of their spare bedroom. Klasky Chupo initially focused on logo design and film trailers, until 1987 when they were commissioned to animate and produce shorts for the Tracy Ullman Show about a certain dysfunctional family.
What? For us? Are you kidding? No way, man.
Klasky Chupo animated every episode of the first 3 seasons of The Simpsons, resulting in 2 Primetime Emmys. Fun fact, a color designer at Klasky Chupo came up with the idea of The Simpsons characters having yellow skin and Marge having blue hair.
It's what shows up on the surface that counts.
In 1989, Klasky Chupo teamed up with The Simpsons co-producer Paul Germain to develop new ideas for Nickelodeon.
We were doing The Simpsons and we got a call from Nickelodeon that they would love us to create a children's show for their Nicktoons.
Arlene had an idea whose inspiration came from a source close to home.
I was just amused during that period, staying home with the kids, and I don't know, my mind thinks, in characters. So I just thought if babies could speak, what would they say?
Every baby might know the secrets of the universe. This would be the greatest breakthrough in the history of science.
Revolutionize a human map.
Yet another Baby Geniuses connection. Rugrats premiered on August 11th, 1991 as the second of 3 animated original shows, better known as Nicktoons.
Nickelodeon's new cartoons are stimulating and tasty. Think of them as cartoon coffee. They're Doug, Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, and they'll never discuss foreign policy.
Topical. Rugrats follows the adventures of brave 1-year-old Tommy Pickles, anxious Chucky, twins Phil and Lil, and Tommy's bratty cousin, Angelica. Fun fact, Angelica's intensity was responsible for breaking up Rugrats' original creative team. Co-creator Paul Germain favored more mature subject matter, like the episode that showed how Angelica's brattiness came from her self-centered parents. But Arlene Klasky wanted to keep Rugrats kid-friendly. In 1993, Germain and members of his writing team departed the show. Season 2 introduced new characters in the neighborhood, like Susie Carmichael. The Rugrats movie brought Tommy's brother Dill, and its sequel, Rugrats in Paris, the movie, brought Chucky's stepsister, Kimmy.
Wow, I've never been on this ride before.
But Rugrats didn't just focus on the kids. The parents were also nuanced characters. Tommy's dad, Stu, desperately wants to be an inventor and outshine his brother.
Gee, Drew, do you really think this will stimulate a small kid's imagination? I mean, what does it do?
Tommy's mom, Dee Dee, tries to handle everything by the book.
Eating technique, age 12 months.
Grandpa Lou was never afraid of an adventure, even if that adventure involved handling Spike.
Stop it, Spike! Get off of me, you big galoot!
Chucky's dad, Chaz, is a widower. Footnote: Mother's Day is considered one of the saddest episodes of Rugrats. It established that Chucky's mom, Melinda, passed away when Chucky was still an infant.
It's all right, Chucky. Don't be scared.
Melinda is voiced by Kim Cattrall. Yet another Baby Geniuses connection. And Angelica is not afraid to use this as roast material.
And as far as you, Chucky, you can forget about having a mom, ever!
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
Phil and Lil's mom, Betty, is a fierce feminist, while the twins' father, Howard, is more soft-spoken.
He's just a little frazzed on account of all these kids.
Actually,
Angelica's mom, Charlotte, is a busy CEO, while Angelica's dad, Drew, is uptight, but also doting. The show struck a chord with viewers and critics alike with its warmth, humor, and authenticity. After its first season, Rugrats won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Animated Program. In 1994, Nick stopped running new episodes, and Rugrats went into syndication. Almost immediately, Rugrats became one of the most popular shows on cable.
That's the old Pickles killer instinct.
Advertising and licensing deals followed.
New Rugrats ice cream face friends.
It's an ice cream party. Grape's your favorite, Angelica.
It's magical ice cream.
It's all over your face.
Look out! Rugrats have arrived at Burger King. One toy inside every kid's club meal.
Kraft macaroni and cheese in your favorite Rugrats shapes.
Nickelodeon would later regret these partnerships when the Kids Network was called out for their role in the childhood obesity epidemic.
Oh, no! Look what you've done!
Kids should try Phil's diet, which is 100% organic. Fun fact, of the Rugrats characters, Angelica was considered a bankable favorite.
Mr. DeVille, I'm ready for my close-up.
New Mercury Villager, now more room and more power. Preferred by grown-ups
and baby.
The New Yorker called her the cartoon equivalent of Julia Roberts.
The fame thing isn't really real.
By 1996, the show was back in production. All told, Rugrats would run for 9 seasons. Footnote, the 90s had an influx of shows about kids, specifically kid versions of comedians. Impressively, Rugrats brought completely original characters into existence.
Great, just what I need. More babies.
It helped that the show had a talented voice cast, including Cheryl Chase as Angelica.
Getting old is nothing but misery and woe.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure star and animation voiceover staple E.G. Daily as Tommy Pickles.
Raptor!
Veteran voice actor Kath Soucie as Phil and Lil.
How come you got the purple one and I only got green? Because green is your favorite color. Oh.
Fun fact, Kath has voiced many characters over the years, including Lola Bunny in the original Space Jam.
Don't ever call me doll.
Coming from the Bob Newhart Show, there was Jack Riley as Stu Pickles.
I love a good barbecue.
The voice of Stu Pickles sounds a lot like Jack reading an ad for Country Crock.
I love dinner parties. That rich, buttery Country Crock taste goes anywhere.
Both Jack Riley and Melanie Chartoff, a.k.a. Dee Dee Pickles, appeared on an episode of Newhart.
Haven't we... I'd love to stay around here and listen to you stutter all night, but I have a life to live. Psycho.
You'll have to excuse my last patient.
In 2001, Christine Cavanaugh, who voiced Chucky and Babe from Babe, retired from the role.
I can't tell you how grateful I am to y'all.
The new Chucky was Nancy Cartwright, a.k.a. Bart Simpson.
Ay, caramba!
There's another gal, Christine Cavanaugh. For 8.5 years, she had created Chucky. The toughest thing that I ever did was Chucky, bar none.
Rugrats released 3 movies in theaters, which led to this unforgettable TV spot from 1998.
And now another special report on Rugrats Movie Madness! We now take you to New York, New York. The Twin Towers have been renamed Phil and Lil.
Hey, now we can finally tell them apart.
Quite possibly the most awkward Twin Towers gag in kids' media since the October 76 issue of Sesame Street magazine. Yuck! The final film featured a crossover with another Klasky Csupo show, The Wild Thornberrys.
Look, it's Nigel Strawberry.
I'm coming down.
Klasky Csupo also created Nickelodeon hits as told by Ginger.
Someone once told me the grass is much greener.
Rocket Power, and Ah Real Monsters, which inspired a special crossover event with Rugrats.
Get 'em, monsters!
Arlene Klasky and Gabor Csupo were basically the Ryan Murphys of Nickelodeon.
We're having lots of fun.
With Rugrats a mega hit for Nickelodeon, the network decided to mine the flagship show for spin-offs. In July of 2001, to celebrate the Rugrats' 10th anniversary,
A look back at a decade in diapers.
Nickelodeon released a very special 2-part episode.
The Rugrats. All growed up.
The story starts when Angelica won't let the babies play with her new toy, which leads to a dramatic solution.
We'll go to the future where we'll be so grown up, Angelica won't boss us around.
And just like that, they became preteens in All Growed Up. Tommy is still the leader. Chucky is nervous. And Phil and Lil are somehow still in matching outfits. Susie's still compassionate. Kimmy's independent. And Dill is still doing his own thing. Angelica, meanwhile, is obsessed with impressing her peers at an Emeka concert. Emeka being a subtle tribute to Gwen Stefani.
Oh, wow.
The adults have grown up too. Stu has reading glasses. Dee Dee has a Bride of Frankenstein gray streak. And there's a running gag about Grandpa being dead.
He'll throw up just like all the other kids. That's why they invented sawdust.
Grandpa's not dead, and somehow neither is Spike.
Hi, Spike, old boy.
Competing with Toy Story's Buster for the How Is This Dog Still Alive award.
Buster, no!
The episode features moments of nostalgia for babyhood.
Anybody else miss those sippy cups?
Chucky taking on hormones.
You're gonna look really cute when they come off.
And Stu sports his lucky disco medallion.
I can do that!
It all comes together with a simple song that reiterates the episode's theme.
You're a friend to me, I'm a friend to you.
The All Growed Up episode also includes a montage of baby moments, perhaps to remind viewers that this is still Rugrats, perhaps to pad out the runtime. Whatever the reason, it gave us a clip show. A typical Rugrats episode was split into 2 12-minute stories. The All Growed Up episode expanded its full attention span to one plot that all told was 45 minutes long. The episode and its tween spirit won over the show's demographic, which, like Tommy and his pals, was growing up. Or as Nickelodeon's EVP and General Manager Seema Zargami put it, with the success of the special, we said, duh, we've got to make this a show.
Please, please, please!
In 2003, the spin-off series All Grown Up took off, completing the life cycle from baby teeth to braces.
This fall, Tommy Pickles and the gang are boldly going where no Rugrat has gone before. Junior high.
All grown up, I really want to shout it out. All grown up with you.
Like Rugrats, All Grown Up benefited from a catchy theme song from brothers Mark and Bob Mothersbaugh of the band Devo.
Whip it! Whip it good!
Singing the theme song was Cree Summer, aka Susie Carmichael.
My dreams, they still matter.
And Susie's musical talents were explored in All Grown Up. Other storylines included age-appropriate arcs like figuring out who you are as an individual.
We are 2 separate white people who just happen to live in the same house.
Discovering your cultural heritage.
I'm Japanese! You're just figuring that out?
And lots of firsts. First kiss. First bra. And being nice for the first time.
No reason you need to mess up everything you've worked so hard for.
Angelica's character became more vulnerable and evolved as she became a teenager. A big step for a character the New York Times once dubbed the preschool queen of mean.
Never heard of him.
Free from having to tell stories about babies, the writers could tackle more mature subject matter, like the time Susie encountered a shady talent agent.
And trust me, money will not be an issue.
And the changes didn't stop there. The show reflected hipper clothing styles that moved away from the characters' toddler attire. All told, All Grown Up ran for 5 seasons, including merchandise like DVDs, books, and even a high-tech video game. If all that wasn't enough of a glimpse into the Pickles' future, All Grown Up featured a dream sequence with Tommy even more grown up.
I want to thank my mother, Dee Dee, and my father, Stu, for their support and inspiration.
Tommy is a filmmaking success, but notably not a success in every area of his life. He has a soul patch.
What is this?
In another standout episode, Angelica turned 13, leading to speculation there might be another spin-off where all the Rugrats became teens.
Sounds incredible!
This never came to pass. Not everyone approved of All Grown Up. Co-creator Paul Germain went on the record to say it didn't make sense.
Once they get older, you're no longer telling a story about babies who don't understand the world.
Perhaps, but it's still impressive that All Grown Up had such a successful run. Considering that the growing characters up model doesn't always last for more than one season. Check out our video on the Flintstone spin-off The Pebbles and Bam Bam Show, which featured the toddlers as groovy teens.
Wow, that's way out!
All Grown Up falls into the rare TV territory of pulling off a time leap in the characters' futures, like The Simpsons with Lisa's wedding.
You know, I always felt you were the best thing my name ever got attached to.
Oh, Dad.
They growed up so fast. All Grown Up was the first backdoor pilot for a potential Rugrats spin-off, but not the only one.
Come on, let's go celebrate Kwanzaa! Yeah.
In 2001, Nickelodeon aired a Rugrats Kwanzaa, which focused on Susie's family. Rugrats first introduced viewers to the Carmichaels in an episode appropriately titled, Meet the Carmichaels.
Hi, my name's Susie, what's yours?
In the episode, Susie freaks out about not being able to find her room. Could this be because Susie understands the pain outlined 63 years earlier by her kindred spirit, Virginia Woolf? The episode also introed the other Carmichael kids.
Buster, Elisa, Edwin.
Susie's overachiever mother, Lucy.
After college, the Peace Corps, med school, getting married and raising a family, earning my wings was a cinch.
And her father, Randy, a writer for a TV show called The Dummy Bears, which Stu was obsessed with.
I want to talk about that lost episode.
Sounds like Stu would be an Atomic Abe fan. Wait until the very end and then you can tell us everything we did wrong. Fun fact, even though Meet the Carmichaels was Susie's first appearance in the show, the character actually debuted in a board game released the previous year. Could it be that Susie has been trapped in a board game for an entire year? Like in the Haunted House game episode of Goosebumps.
I think it's a safe bet.
In her first season on the show, Susie quickly established herself as a brave and likable foil for Angelica.
Pretty crummy track you got here.
So in a Rugrats Kwanzaa, the show followed a standard backdoor pilot formula, taking established characters and branching them out into their own episode, with the help of some familiar faces. The episode even introduced a family member we'd never seen before. Great Aunt T, voiced by Irma P. Hall of The Lady Killers and Soul Food.
You may not know me, but I know you.
After Aunt T visits, both Susie's parents become distracted, leaving the kids to have big realizations.
I like Chucky's Kwanzaa piggly tail, Susie. Can you do that for me?
Tommy has never realized that he's bald before. But at least he's not alone.
I'm in sad shape.
Meanwhile, Susie is having her own insecurities.
She said Kwanzaa's about being together and celebrating great peoples. And I'm not great.
Susie spends much of the episode trying to prove her greatness, but in the end, learns a more valuable lesson.
Child, always be proud of who you are and where you came from.
Viewers also learn about the history of the holiday.
Is this a time to give thanks and honor the legacy of our great people? Now who's gonna help Auntie get these boots off?
The episode features Black historical figures.
Wow, there's Rosa Parks, Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall.
Don't forget Ella Fitzgerald. I never did get your name.
It's Martin Luther King, ma'am.
Thus making a Rugrats Kwanzaa the only Backdoor Pilot episode to feature a cameo by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Oh, and also that Backdoor Pilot episode of The Facts of Life. The episode is also historically significant because it was one of the first TV shows to focus on Kwanzaa, which means Rugrats celebrated the holiday before Sesame Street. Fun fact, less than 2 weeks after a Rugrats Kwanzaa aired, Fox broadcast an episode of Futurama with Kwanzaa Bot, voiced by Coolio.
I gotta hand out the traditional Kwanzaa book.
2001's A Rugrats Kwanzaa wasn't the first time Nickelodeon covered a non-Christian holiday.
A Macababy's gonna do what a Macababy's gonna do. Philo, if you don't let my babies go right now, things are gonna get really bad around here. Go ahead, make my day.
The Kwanzaa episode was unusual because most of America knew as much about the holiday as Tommy and the gang, so the show could teach Kwanzaa's history without being condescending.
Those are the bestest Kwanzaa stories I ever heard. Those were the onlyest Kwanzaa stories you ever heard.
Even Cree Summer, Susie Carmichael herself, learned a few things from the experience.
I remember that episode because I didn't know what Kwanzaa was.
But what's Kwanzaa?
According to Richard Irvin's Spinning Laughter, the episode was laying the groundwork for more Carmichael-centered stories.
Oh, hi.
The proposed spinoff would have followed the family's new life in Atlanta. Fans believed the series would have revolved around the Carmichaels running a family restaurant. That might have helped Susie get better at baking. But Nickelodeon decided to keep the Carmichaels around so Susie could be part of the other two planned spinoffs.
Don't give up, Susie. Maybe you just got to do something special of your own.
Maybe Tommy was onto something. For her work in A Rugrats Kwanzaa, Cree Summer was nominated for an NAACP Image Award, an award she'd go on to win in 2021 for her performance as Susie Carmichael.
Thanks, you guys.
While the Carmichaels didn't get their own show, A Rugrats Kwanzaa continued to be a cultural touchstone for generations to come. It's a good thing Susie didn't move to Atlanta. She needed to stick around so she could co-star in a different Rugrats spinoff. The least known Rugrats spinoff came from a Backdoor Pilot with the most baby butts, breakouts, and breakdowns.
Excuse me while I go powder my bangs.
In 2002, Nickelodeon aired Preschool Days. The episode centers on a special day.
Hi, Angelica. Ready for preschool? Of course I'm ready. I already know all my alphabets.
But does Angelica know that behind her is the Babadook? The girls meet their teacher, the high-strung Miss Weimer.
But being a teacher is very, very hard work.
The girls also encounter a series of memorable classmates.
Supermans don't take naps.
And they also meet their unwanted third wheel, Harold Frumpkin. The day lends itself to classic Angelica-Susie rivalry until Miss Weimer's mug is broken. Then it's up to the reluctant trio to fix it.
Just worry about fixing the mug and leave the sneaky business to me.
Antics abound. The quest to repair the broken mug sends our heroes wandering throughout the entire community center, encountering everything from a senior's yoga class to a dog grooming workshop to a class on cutting-edge technology.
Where'd it go?
The episode ends with Susie and Angelica making amends and sharing a black and white cookie. This might be the most obvious metaphor since Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder shared a keyboard. Preschool Days was Nickelodeon's chance to spin off a show about Angelica and Susie starting school.
I can't wait.
The series had a new animation style and musical score. The character design looked very early 2000s, with the characters' big eyes and simplistic renderings. In the spin-off, Miss Weimer is more frazzled than ever. Quirky classmates include Lucas, voiced by Pamela Adlon,
I boogie to my own drum, Miss Weimer.
and Lorraine Newman as Julia.
Think Miss Weimer's gonna throw up.
Fun fact, Lorraine Newman also voiced cool girl Samantha Shane in All Grown Up.
Oh, now I remember.
Weirdly, the main antagonist in Preschool Days is named Savannah Shane, who we see as a teen in All Grown Up. So are Samantha and Savannah Shane related? Or did Savannah go through a phase in junior high where she called herself Samantha, completely retooled her entire look, only to go back to being Savannah? Science may never tell us.
Isn't that great?
Preschool Days gave more screen time to Harold Frumpkin, who inspires the saddest moment in the series.
You're gonna make me apologize, aren't you?
Harold also appears in All Grown Up, where he is just as hapless.
I like doing stuff for Angelica.
Why?
Highlights of Preschool Days include Angelica's stint as an aspiring reporter. Her strategy, exploit the subject.
Oh, Clark, we're gonna film you for the news now. All you gotta do is climb to the next branch.
Angelica has pulled a Nightcrawler. There's the episode where the class puts on an original play.
George Washington and the Cherry Tree. It's perfect because it takes place in the preschool days of our country.
And Angelica is tricked into playing the tree. And Susie tries to turn the production into Hamilton.
One day young George was walking in his big backyard.
Although the show hit some high notes, the flat animation didn't have the same charm or character as Rugrats. Fans noted that the show didn't feel high quality. One user calling it just a bunch of mush put together with the Rugrats logo on it.
That wasn't very nice.
Plus, the success of All Grown Up overshadowed Preschool Days. In 2001, Nickelodeon announced that Preschool Days would get a 13-episode run, but instead, the network decided to pursue All Grown Up. So Preschool Days went from a full season to just 4 specials.
Who cares?
In 2005, Klasky Csupo announced that the specials would be released as bonus features on Rugrats, Tales from the Crib. At only 4 episodes, the series graduated preschool with a superlative, shortest-lived Nicktoon.
I mean that in a good way. Oh, it's okay.
Even today, the episodes are not officially available online, so they can only be found living in Harold Frumpkin's memories. Klasky Csupo created other projects that range from cult favorites to forgotten obscurities.
Getting back to me!
In 1994, the company released an animated adult comedy, Duckman, starring Jason Alexander. The show alluded to some of the company's past projects.
Honey, what am I going to do with you?
Tim Curry, aka Nigel Thornberry, played Duckman's nemesis.
It's me, your arch nemesis, King Chicken.
E.G. Daily, Tommy Pickles, showed up as Mambo, one of Duckman's sons.
Freudian, Jungian.
Duckman aired on the USA Network for 4 seasons. And there were more offbeat Klasky Csupo shows to come.
I know.
The Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald was a 1998 direct-to-video series that mixed live-action footage with reimagined McDonald's cartoons.
Spread into my feet. McDonald land is changing.
The Hamburglar is now a kid, and he looks curiously like a reject from Rocket Power.
Who would have thought?
I always knew he had it in him.
That, and about 900 pounds of something else.
Plus, there's a new character, Ronald's dog Sunday, embodied by Austin Powers' Vern Troyer.
Do you think we could ever just have a normal adventure?
Yep, that's Mini-Me inside the dog suit. Then Ronald transforms from a scary-looking man to an even scarier cartoon.
Come on, guys! Where's your spirit of adventure?
The show stars Rugrats favorites like the original Chucky, Christine Cavanaugh.
We birds have an unswerving sense of direction.
Phil and Lil's Kath Soucie.
I've been opening doors all my life. Come on, guys.
And Pamela Adlon turns up as McNugget number 1.
I feel salty already.
Plus, there's Carol Kane.
We made it to the station right on schedule.
And musical numbers.
We welcome thee, yes, with our McDonald's Symphony. Hey!
The wackiness only lasted for 6 adventures, which were sold exclusively
only at McDonald's.
In 2008, Klasky Csupo took another swing at adult animation with Immigrants, starring Hank Azaria and Eric McCormack.
Hello there.
The cartoon sitcom followed Vlad and Joska, newcomers to Los Angeles who are actively pursuing the American dream and showing off their beach bods. Originally developed for Spike TV's animated lineup, Immigrants ultimately made its American debut in a feature-length movie.
I lost all my pennies in a fire.
Ooh, I know the feeling.
If you ever wanted to see Rugrats-style characters take on adult material, who are you?
This is ugly part of capitalist excess.
August 17th, 2008 was a landmark day for Klasky Csupo. The finale of All Grown Up aired, thereby ending the company's collaboration with Nickelodeon's parent company, Viacom. Arlene Klasky and Gabor Csupo had divorced in 1995. With their work at Nickelodeon wrapped, they pursued separate careers.
On your mark, set, go.
Gabor Csupo directed the 2007 live-action film Bridge to Terabithia, a happy and uplifting movie where nothing traumatic happens. Arlene Klasky co-created a comic book as well as this zany web show about her company's logo.
I've been living up here on the internet for years while you guys have been clicking away and making me say Klasky Csupo.
Then, in 2018, it was announced that Klasky Csupo would join forces with Paul Germain for a Rugrats reboot. Almost the entire original voice cast returned in CG animation. Even Spike is back. He has not aged a day, making him the Dorian Gray of dogs. New additions include Natalie Morales as Betty DeVille. Betty is now out as a member of the queer community. The cast also includes Anna Klumsky as Charlotte Pickles, Timothy Simmons as Drew Pickles, and Tony Hale as Chaz Finster.
Hey, hon.
You know I worry about you off in the wilderness on this yearly primitive ritual with your father and brother.
Don't worry, Charlotte. I'm here too.
So it's basically Rugrats Veep.
No. That doesn't make any sense.
The 2021 reboot didn't dazzle audiences or critics. Here's Atomic Abe's Emily Menez as Angelica performing a dramatic reading of one review.
I'd like to think anyway that if Tommy Pickles had been allowed to grow up, to take on student loans, move to a city where his chances of owning anything bigger than a closet were essentially nil, he probably wouldn't have much reason to bother watching either.
After 2 seasons, Paramount Plus pulled the new episodes from its platform. The streaming brand said that this was a decision to, quote, focus on content with mass global appeal, which is industry code for Tulsa King.
Not exactly the welcome I was expecting.
Meanwhile, the Rugrats live-action movie is still in the works, with a script coming from Saturday Night Live writers Mikey Day and Streeter Seidel.
We can't wait!
While it's easy to focus on the newer iterations of the show, there's something to be said about the massive legacy Tommy and his pals crawled into existence.
After crossing the freeway, base jumping off a cliff, and dodging bullets in a gang war, we finally found my Reptar doll!
Rugrats is never far from the zeitgeist.
I squandered my munitions budget on that insipid Rugrats video.
Then I had an obsession at 6 years old with Rugrats, the show, which is all babies.
Of course.
And so, yeah, Rugrats!
And if nothing else, we'll always be grateful Rugrats gave us this, which is almost as good as this scene from Baby Geniuses.
Cross. Left hook. Whoa, you the one, baby.
We had to do a third beat. Thanks for joining us on Behind the Backdoor Pilot Oops All Babies Edition. Comment below to tell us
Which of the babies is your favorite?
And subscribe to the Atomic Abe channel, hit that notification bell so you'll never miss a new video, and be sure to catch up on previous installments of Behind the Backdoor Pilot, like the time Sabrina the Teenage Witch tried to make Sabrina's cousin Amanda happen in 3 different spin-offs.
I'll be sure to write.